I just want to record this real quick. Ah, goodness me. I just see so much going on. Sometimes there are days that I just don't want to get out. There's days that and I believe the reason why we get sick, like sore throat, uh, whatever that is, it can be running nose or stomach, you know, anything. The reason why I get into this because I look at things with a really open mind. And when you look with open mind and broader perspective and seeing how other worlds live with empathy, of course you're getting affected. Of course, you think it's a pleasure to go out there and see kids suffering and not eating or eating like one mango a day. Of course it's not. Of course it's not. Of course, what your eye sees, you just, there are some places where I just don't want to take photos because first of all, I know it's gonna be taken away from me. It's gonna be snatched. The photos where people suffer the most, this is where the environment gets really harsh. So, and sometimes when you see these images, these sceneries, you just like, wow, I don't want to get out. I want to take a break. I'm burned out, because obviously you deal with a lot of obstacles. And I'll be, I'll be just, I realized that when you live in it, imagine if I moved here, lived all the time. Eventually, I would have accustomed to this. Actually, this recording started at 11:47, which is my birth time. So I guess it's the right timing. So I just want to say that when you live in the mud, you become mud, and then it's part of it. It's part of. For example, uh, like I was eating honey, and that honey contained a lot of ants. I'm not noticing this anymore. I'll just post it here for a record later underneath. I just don't pay attention. Maybe in the beginning I paid attention to it. I'm like, oh, there are ants. But, the people around me, they're like, oh, so what? They didn't say anything, just it's normal. So you just eat honey with ants in it. That's the reality. That is the reality. So when you do that, first of all, you become part of it. And that's the thing. And I am at the brink of separating myself from the Western mind, integrating into local. And when you're a hybrid, when you're like me, which is half white, half black, you see things, you want to balance things. A white person has a very different perspective than a black person. Different perspectives. Don't tell me they're the same. We're not the same. Mentality is not the same. Yes, on a different realm, when we eventually die, we become one. Yes. Or we become one when major crisis hits. Let's say there is a force that is against you. Yes, you become one. But in day-to-day basis, everyone is different. Everyone has a different perspective of things. What we are similar in is our desire to eat, our desire to shit, our desire to drink, and so on. So, and obviously basic survival needs. If I take away everything from you that you have, of course you will start stealing stuff. If I take everything away and the only thing you have is a little hut and that is leaking during rainy season or during landslides, of course you will of course you will become like any other human. If you see, let's say, like some of the kids, they may steal a pan and chalk from the school, and then they will find someone who will trade it for a mango, and then they eat the mango, and then you have a mango for a day. How can I convey something like this to the masses? You know, of course, what's the reason? You think, what is the reason behind poverty? What is the reason behind this suffering? Well, first of all, it goes way back to the human existence. The fact that we have some places have abundance, it's an illusion. For the majority of the world is actually suffering. I traveled so much. I've been to the dumpsters of Cambodia, the video that has been banned. The dumpsters of Cambodia, where people live off dumps. I've been to Sri Lanka, where I saw other things there. Now I'm here. All I just wanted to say is that in a way they have more freedom here. They have more freedom in this forest. But even now, the laws constrain everybody. Like, you cannot bring your goats around everywhere like they used to, because every land is now belonging to somebody, things becoming more commercialized. So when you take away that freedom, and now you have poverty to deal with, of course it becomes depressing. Because people live in the mud, because people live, I call it living in the mud, you don't have that higher perspective. You just see it as subtle changes, and you understand that things are not getting better, but you just adjust and you cope with it, When you have a more global perspective, it's easier for you to see. It's easier. And let me tell you, when I'm here, I'm making 3 steps forward, but I also make 2 steps back. So last year when I was here, the situation did allow me to do more. It's just my perspective. Even though the conditions were harsher in terms of water, there was no water. Now we have a lot of water, but we have to find a way to accumulate it. But it has become tougher to even get to the destinations. So, coming back to this existential issue that we're dealing with here, there's a lot of existential issues. And every relative I know has gone into farming, agriculture. People know that this is important, is to invest all they have into agriculture, farming, maybe getting a goat, while they have the opportunity to use the land. In many Western places like Australia, you cannot even farm legally. You have to go through so many regulations to even have a license to farm on your own land. So people here, they understand the essence. The essence here is food. While many people think about what's happening on the retrograde, what is happening on some political level, who said what in the Hollywood, people here just need to survive. And that's the perspective. So I'm just here like bridging a gap between this world where you have abundance and the world where I may not have hot water for days and electricity for days. So it is what it is, I'm happy for technology, really. Technology allows me to share. Technology such as power banks, solar power banks, and different pieces allow me to share what I can share. And, my phone has fallen down a few times, and, I have a cracked camera, rear camera is cracked, and some of the screen is scratched, and I'm still happy that I can share. And I'm still happy because I just go very deep. Not everyone can go this deep. When you travel to Tanzania or when you travel to any African places, you travel to destinations that tourists travel. No one will take you to the places where there is child labor in a in a mining field. No one will take you there. Nobody will take you to the villages where there is like nothing, you know. And these places exist. These places exist. And again, I asked myself why these places exist, what's the reason behind it. Uh, I know there were colonial years. I know Africa has been stripped of so many resources. I know it. It's like there is no gold anymore, for example. There used to be so much. It's part of the flag. Now it's gone. And there's a lot of natural resources that have been dug out. In fact, our planet has been digging out natural resources around the world. This is not just the only place. So I do, it's on my heart. Of course, I will make an impact as much as I can. I have to deal with limitations of my social media, the fact that I'm being banned last year, the fact that I went against COVID mandates. Everything is a hoax, and now I have to use the same social media to break through to people to run these fundraisers and donations. You see, it's a very reversed effect. Last year I was much more calmer about it, but now I know I will be putting word out there. This is why I believe privacy is so important. It's important to have a secondary phone just in case that is not tied to any Google services or any iCloud services. Everything now is on Google or iCloud. People just don't realize that everything can be a setup. If someone wants to eliminate you, if you become too dangerous for government forces, they can easily track you down and eliminate. So one of the warnings is when they remove you from YouTube or any social media. YouTube is one of the big ones because this is where people can externalize. I realized that the reason my Instagram got banned and Facebook was not banned because Facebook is more secluded. It's like maybe you have 200 friends, 300 friends, like in my case maybe over 1,000 friends. That's all. Instagram can go viral because it can have hashtags, so I have to use more intense algorithms. So that's why I don't have it, and I'm not even planning to go there because I'm knowing myself, I will share something that will go against the grain. I was recently on one of the podcasts with a Russian archaeologist and the smartest man I've met in my life, the smartest educated man I met. And so it was an amazing podcast, and I really felt compassionate towards him when he lost his third YouTube channel. And so this was, I guess, a fourth YouTube channel that was recently reopened. And I contributed to him for his effort, for what he's doing to share information to the world. And I'm happy to have participated in that and just share. I believe there will be more of this because I do believe there is more world beyond this planet. There is more. We have not seen these lands. There is stuff beyond Antarctica. There are things in the Arctic Circle that we have not seen. There is more world, and my goal is to get to that world one day. As ambitious as it sounds, I want to get to that world or even die on my way to that world. Obviously, when the timing is right. So now, I don't know what's the bottom line of this story. All I'm saying is that everyone is a human, and if you have an open heart, if you have an open mind, and you've seen many things, and you're able to bridge the gap between the races, in my case, black, white, I can share certain things. It doesn't really have to get to the masses. It doesn't have to get anywhere to the public. It really it really, at the end of the day, the impact of one human being on the grand scheme of things is a small drop of water in the ocean. It just depends on the quality of that drop of water. If the quality of the drop of water is good, you know, you get spiritually rewarded. How this works, the karmic laws, you can study books. I can have a separate monologue about it. Let's say dialogue, because I know someone will listen and communicate back spiritually. So that's the way it works. So even when you make 2 steps forward or 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, there is at least 1 step difference that you make. So every human, if you make those steps forward for the better humanity, we can prosper, and we can at least create this world within us that has peace, that doesn't have any war, that doesn't have any negativity in it, because we do deal with negativity on day-to-day basis. Believe me, I know what it is to deal with negativity on day-to-day basis. Negative circumstances, negative environment, you know, people and this and that. It's important to keep God within you, because when you have that belief, you can spring to the next level. You can spring to such next level, and you can just see everything as a monk and maintain peace. You know, like I notice with myself, when something falls, let's say I almost dropped the phone, and I say, shit, you know? It's something that is programmed in us, and most people will do the same. But what if the phone drops and you don't say that? What if you don't even have those thoughts? You just accept it as something that happens. So this is the next level. This is the next level of consciousness, of accepting anything that happens. Accepting if you are sick, you don't fight it, you just take a break, because everything happens in its time. When you go too intense in your life, when you're going constantly with this high level of intensity, you will eventually burn out. Eventually there will be a burn. There is no other way. So, especially when you deal with something that creates constant discomfort, you know, easy as high humidity in cold climates, which I'm experiencing now, the coldest winter since 1978, when it rains, it downpours, landslides, your feet get cold, and then obviously you get sick. You know, that's how it stops you, because it wants you to be, it's the reason people get sick is to protect themselves from actually dying. The reason you get sick is so that you don't make it worse on yourself. The next phase after sickness is death, if we draw a line. And I've seen people, and I've been in situations where I was close to that. So I just want to share big love to everyone that I do know, or I even don't know, but you know me, or somehow we are connected, somehow a message gets across. I have a powerful belief in that this planet, this incarnation, is the internal test for us. It's a big test of how we interact with this humanity. Do we copy the people that control this world? Do we become like them? Or we seek something deeper within us that is supreme being, that they're all afraid? Because in this world, the people at the top, they worship entity named as Lucifer. Many names. There's just too many names. If I start listing, we're gonna go into a rabbit hole. But let's not follow that on day-to-day basis. Let's practice compassion. Let's practice positivity. And let's help at least one human being a day. It's not hard to help one human being, one stranger a day. somebody you don't know, somebody you may know, somebody that comes into your aura and messages you, remember, we can all help each other. If someone messages you, it doesn't really mean, it usually means they want your attention, they want your help. So quite often your answer can be delayed or can be ignored. You can ignore them, and that's it. And what happens is, at the end, when it's too much ignoring, when the ignoring happens a little bit too frequently, you lose the connection. They lose the connection. The connection is lost. But then you can wake up, reignite that connection, or you can connect with someone else. Sometimes it means the paths have separated, you know. So let's just allow that flexibility for people to come and go. Those that really need you, they'll reach out to you, and it's up to you what you want to do with it. But the more unconditional you live, the better it is in the long run. The better it is in the long run for this planet, for this universe, because we are the force that can create a counter force to what's going on in the world. And we can create our little world collectively that is filled with love and positivity. When there is love and constant, just where there is unconditional love, there is no fear. You know, it's like antonym. Well, antonym is more hate, but I don't know what is antonym of fear, really. Don't fear confidence. I know people that cause fear to this planet, and they're confident, they're positive, because they bring fear. There is positive force to fear. And they're also amazing healers. They can heal themselves or heal their circle. Not you, not me, but their circle. But our energy is different. It's unconditional. We can even heal them. We can heal ourselves. I'm here to heal my enemies. I don't really care. If someone is against me, I'll use that. So that positivity triples. You see? So let's spread that unconditional love. It's love for every cell on this planet. The evil forces, the good forces. It's much easier to love good forces. It's much easier to love me, for example. You know, it's like, yeah, he's doing great. He's doing something for the elders or for the kids, of course. But how about loving someone who we don't like, who we find despicable? Try that. Try that. Let's elevate to the next level. I'm sending you so much love. This is a long recording. I meant to end it maybe 10, 15 minutes ago, but it got so deep. It's channeled information. I will use the image that I intended to use the image because that's what I saw. Obviously, I want to use something that has light. You know, there will be light at the end. And that's my goal. That's my goal. My goal is to use something super positive, you know, and align it with the rest. Whew. I'm sending you so much love, everyone, guys. Really. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's keep doing it. You know, everyone who does anything, you know, if you're forced to work, but spend 1 or 2 hours to help somebody else, to help the universe. Send energy, send this planet some good love, some unconditional energy to all of them, to all forces, good or evil. They're all wonderful. I want to say honestly, as post-scriptum, I do admire evil forces because they're so organized. They know what they're doing. I take my hat off to these Schwabs, to Soroses and Kissingers, and all these people that we don't even know. They're so organized. They know what they're doing. They put us in this position of slavery, and that's the goal: is to get out of it, is to find a way out. That's the game. That's the name of the game. If it was nice and dandy, it won't be fun. There will be no challenge. There won't be growing. How can you grow? I'll get back to the mud. How can you grow if you don't come from the mud? How can you grow if there is no mud, if there is no shit around you? All you know is just amazing stuff. I grow personally here a lot in seeing all of this. Anyways, I'm signing off. I hope I just affirm, I don't hope, let's eliminate word hope. I affirm that this recording will get delivered. I affirm that this recording will be sent to the universe, to the internet of spaces, the spaces of internets, and all of that. And believe me, I want to experience as much things as possible, and I really encourage everyone experience many things, many different states of mind, many different states of meditation, states of breathing, states of goodness, richness, abundance, poverty, all of it, all of it, all of it. The more you experience, the more you know, the more you become, and you can do these recordings and teachings and whatever. You can push it to the next level. We can all push it to the next level. This is a little bit long. And so what do you do for a speech like this? You have to put some nice graphics, maybe, maybe some slideshows. I don't know. I'll try to be creative, because if it's just one picture, it probably become too redundant. It's like, oh my God, like what is he talking about? There needs to be some action. We have to catch humans' attention. That's why Hollywood is so good. They can capture your attention for 3 hours, 4 hours, sometimes 9 hours, sometimes whole day. You watch the movie, it's like, oh my God, my attention. I sell my attention to them. Anyways, unconditional love to everyone.